Go ahead and say all of that wild shit online, man. You might need a Dr. Phil if you catch me outside. And I will not apologize if you ain't one of mine, fam. I cannot afford to give a fuck if it was finance.
All right, everybody, welcome to the first anniversary of the first episode, the 1 week anniversary of our first episode of Fact You, a show that could really give a fact about feelings. I am one of your hosts.
Acting care. I'll tell you that.
I'm one of your hosts, Ray Jaason Jr., and with me, as always, is my good buddy, Jason McMurray.
What's
Jason,
up?
And we have a very special guest today, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only, the Morgan Rector, host of Human Monsters, which some of you may know, co-host of Trailer Park Boys Fan Federation, co-host of True Crime News. What else you got, Morgan? Tell us a little something about yourself.
Well, the Papo panel, of which you are a part.
I almost forgot.
Well, that's probably because we're usually stoned while we record that. So
very true, very true.
You might as well just say "and YouTube legend" because that's pretty much what the guy's turning into.
That he is.
Fanfare, yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, last week we established a little bit about ourselves, just so you know. I will talk a little bit about what we are politically. I am a conservative anarchist that's leaning libertarian. I established something. I realized something, that I believe that I am a political fluid. I mean, if people could be gender fluid, I could be political fluid, right?
Yeah, I think lots of people like that.
Yeah. I'm not Republican by any means. But there are days where I feel a bit more libertarian, and there are days that I feel totally conservative, where I'm like, no, fuck everybody, you know? I know libertarian, we're a little more, you know, like you said, Jason, it's like conservative light. You know, it's not quite as harsh where when my conservative side comes out, I want to be like, you know what, no one gets anything, screw everybody.
There are actually, in fact, liberal conservatives. I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but there are people out there that call themselves. They used to be called blue dog Democrats, is what they used to be called. You know,
Eliza Schieffer is a liberal.
Well, I mean, I'm politically, well, for the most part, I'm apolitical. But when I was someone who, kept abreast of what's happening in politics, I was politically centrist, but socially libertarian. Like, I don't give a damn what you do behind closed doors. Just don't hurt anybody, and don't force me into making some kind of accommodations for it. You know what I'm saying? Your private life is supposed to be private. If you choose to make it public, that's your choice. But don't force it down my throat. Unless I want you to.
Well,
right.
That's actually the basic principles of the NAP, the Non-Aggression Pact, that most anarchists and libertarians live by, voluntarists, and it's don't hurt me, and I won't hurt you.
Don't tread on me. Yeah.
Now you see, I totally subscribe to that normally, mostly, but then again, I have moments where I go, it's that logic that led us to where we're at. I guess it's allowing people to do whatever they want for themselves is what spilled over the cup, and now it's running all over everything.
Well, I guess I would define my social libertarianism by saying, like, a good example is the transgender thing. I feel it's important to have laws that prevent them from being discriminated against or being abused in any way, but I don't like the idea of laws forcing me to use certain pronouns. If I slip up, if I make a mistake, I don't want to lose a job because of that. Like, so that's the way I see it.
What do you think about the about transgenders participating in sports?
Well, I mean, if
That's
it's
a really hot topic here lately.
yeah, well, I mean, if it's like a someone who is biologically male but identifies as female, I don't think they should be competing with women in sports unless it's something like maybe like tennis or something like that.
Good.
But if it's
Good call.
wrestling or MMA
Golf.
or something, if it's contact sports, boxing, MMA, anything like that, clearly they have even women who are real bodybuilders and have like really beefed up, they still don't have as much muscle mass as a man does, a person who has been assigned biologically male birth.
Right,
So
right.
it's
Well,
just an unfair advantage, you know what I'm saying?
look at running. Even running's not a contact sport. And if you took a biological male and a biological female and tossed them in a quarter mile together, if they had the same training and the same drive, do you really think that's a fair competition?
Well, I mean, I don't think it would be a problem with just with running, you know what I'm saying?
Let me interject there real quick. Yes, it is largely. They've already done this. Okay, you can
Yeah.
take the women's world record, in the women's run. I think the 100 meter, and the top 100 or 150 high school boys can beat it. It's not even close to the men's record.
Yes, I don't know.
Once puberty happens, we stop being the same. Now,
Like,
children should be able to play. Little boys and girls can play on the same team when they're 9, 10, 11 years old, 12 years old. Once you start hitting puberty, whatever age it is, whether it's 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever happens, that is when we stop being the same. That is when estrogen, that is
yeah.
when testosterone, that is when those things start to pumped into the body.
So
And
what's
it is
gonna
a huge difference.
what's gonna happen if Usain Bolt identifies as female? I mean, come on. Is there gonna be like a
Ridiculous.
kilometer? Is there gonna be like a mile separating him
You
from the
you
other?
you name one woman on the planet that's even coming close to catching that guy. Perfect
Okay.
example.
I,
Amanda
I,
Nunes. Go ahead, Jason. Go ahead.
I got a fact. Sorry to interrupt your tirade there, but Hachem El Guerrero is the current men's record holder with a time of 3 minutes 43 seconds, while Safan Hassan has the women's record of 4 minutes 12 seconds. Since the 1 mile has been the only non-metric distance to be recorded for these purposes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you may notice that so-called trans men, women transitioning to men, they don't compete with cisgendered men very often because they'll get crushed, right?
Yeah, no. Women becoming men do not go into men's sports, and that is right.
But yeah,
Look, any adult that wants to do anything they want to themselves, that is fine. The reason I got issues with a lot of this stuff is because we're forcing it upon children. We're making everyone pretend like it's reality, like we have to follow it. With all due respect, transgender is less than 1% of the population.
Oh
It's
no,
less than 1%.
it's a
it's
fraction
like
of 1%.
0.6%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And actually, the
And
ones who are being aggressive with the pronouns, that's even less than that. That's like 0.2% of the goddamn population.
can I just say
It's like 1 in 100,000.
Yeah, that's the thing. Most transgender people are actually reasonable. They don't force these things down people's throats. But you see, the media focuses on the people who are screaming and yelling and make a stink about it, right? So the media sells you fear and hysteria, and it's just like how I view your country through the lens of the media. If that the media is to be believed, guns are going off at all 24/7. People are getting shot, mass shootings, people rioting down the streets. In reality, I mean, there's lots of
that does happen all over the place, Morgan. That does happen all over the place.
And most of
it's not everybody does it.
But it's in inner cities.
Areas.
There's specific areas, Democratic-run inner cities, and it's specific people doing it. Like that's just the way it is. Yes, every once in a while you might get a mass shooter who shoots like 3 or 4 people, 6 people from far away, but you have places like Chicago where 48 people are getting shot in one weekend. Like every week.
It's like with police brutality. You know, the cops, they don't focus on at the average cop just driving around endlessly eating donuts. They're focusing on the guys who beat people up. Which, by the way, they don't always just target people of color either.
No,
Ray, you've
no.
been hassled by the
Oh
police.
yes, police brutality is a myth.
Were you ever actually like beaten by a
Oh
cop?
fuck yes, dude! I've had cops on my neck longer than George Floyd has. It's just George Floyd was unlucky, with all due respect. And once again, he died of a fentanyl overdose. The shit, the shit the cops did aggravated the situation, yes, but that man was hyperventilating and unable to breathe long before they were ever on him.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was in the drunk tank fighting cops, and I had like 6 of them. One of them is bigger than me, and I'm 6'2", 260. This officer is about 6'8", probably around 350. He was right on the back of my neck and my shoulder blades with his knee. There was 6 of them holding me down, butt naked, in the drunk tank because I was fighting everybody.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, and I remember Henry Rollins talking about being a member of Black Flag in the early '80s, and the LAPD would be hassling him every goddamn day. Like when
yeah,
he was in LA, they'd be like, "Why are you a faggot, faggot? Where are you going, faggot?" And just beating up skaters. It wasn't just
yeah,
black people and Hispanics. It was anybody that they just didn't like. It's
oh
like
yeah, yeah.
if the bullies at your high school who used to pick on the little guys, they get some of them become cops, and that's how they still behave.
Most of them become cops. Actually, is the way it works around here. You know,
I've noticed a lot of the guys that get picked on become cops
I
because then
haven't.
they get to give it
Yeah,
It's
back. If
both,
I,
yeah.
you know,
I haven't had as many interactions with the police as like you have, Ray.
the
But
average person hasn't.
not very many people have.
Yeah.
But I have had my fair share, and something that I've learned is that they they say they're there to help, but shit always gets worse.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you know what? It's funny because I just did an episode of my podcast a week ago about the Hillside Stranglers. The LAPD devoted like 100 men to solving that case, and they never did. And there was a tiny police force in Bellingham, Washington, that did. So, and the LAPD has had one of the worst reputations of any police force in the country. So they think, taking that aggressive stance helps, but it doesn't. So,
I've always thought that. I mean, yes, a lot of police interactions do get escalated, but that is also because, I mean, now that I'm outside of it, I haven't been in trouble in a while, and I can look objectively. A lot of times we don't really help the situation. I'm not always the most cooperative. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you this much that like once I stopped resisting, once I stopped being an asshole, once I stopped being argumentative, my interactions became a lot better and more respectful and peaceful. I will admit that, I've also been a firm believer of that police shouldn't police towns they live in, because then they become, familiar with, they have the ability to build a grudge towards someone, because we are human, even they're human. Like you get it, you call that dude enough times, pretty soon he's going to start thinking, all right,
I'm a
I gotta watch the P's and Q's, but that's
You
how
know,
it is.
PZQ stands for pints and quarts. It's an old Irish thing.
Actually, where the term actually started from is in the late 1700s, when people were learning their cursive. The only 2 letters in the entire English language that go below the bottom line are the lowercase p and the lowercase q. So the teachers used to tell them to watch your P's and Q's to make sure they weren't written up on the line like everybody else. They were down below. P and Q.
I've
That
never
is
heard.
where,
I've
yeah,
never heard that one.
that is where
Oh,
P's and Q's came from.
I think we have a fact off.
Go ahead. I've already fact off this one before. This one I know for a fact is a fact. So go
Hey,
ahead.
I just wanted to. Speaking of facts, I just wanted to pipe in real quick. We were talking
Oh,
about
yes, yes,
mass shootings, and
yes.
and I had to do a little digging because like the first 15 hits I got on what is a definition of a mass shooting were all from Wikipedia. Finally, I got one from the University of Pennsylvania, EDU. And in the United States, what's considered a mass shooting is if 4 or more people are shot randomly. that means they don't know each other. They're not together. They're not related to each other.
So anyone just like walking down the street, like, or like in a crowd.
They have sex lives.
They did not have sex, Morgan. No.
I'm not talking about the shooter. I'm talking about the random people. The shooters seem to be devoid of sexual opportunities.
So in theory, by that, then, like a house party at a drive-by, that's not considered a mass shooting then? Because everyone at the party would know each other, correct?
Right. Actually, that is. Yes, sir, it is. If I could continue,
Yes.
like at a school, a place of worship, or a business establishment would be considered a mass shooting. But if it's a private shooting, there's 4 or more people involved, and it's in, geez.
Well, that's a serial killer right there.
If they're all, for example, an armed robbery gone bad, multiple homicides from a turf war, people associating together by means, dude. Yeah, so like if it's a party, it's a public, it's a private shoot. Was it public or private? A mass shooting is like when somebody just goes into the grocery store and starts blowing people away.
In private, if you kill a bunch of people, you're just a serial killer.
Yeah, pretty much. They gave it like a foo-foo name. Anyways, I just wanted to clear that up.
I said, so it's a foo-foo name, kind of like conservative anarchist leaning towards libertarian. You foof it up, and it sounds nice. Thank you, Jason, for that. So okay, so it's just 4 or more random people get shot. Okay, and that classifies as a mass shooting. But yeah, so back to the police thing. Like, so I've always been a firm believer of like police should do some sort of like officer exchange program. Like you should have to own like the surrounding counties. You know, it doesn't have to be like cross country or anything, but just the surrounding county within an hour or 2, a reasonable commute. Jason drives 10 times more than that per day, so it's like, you know, an hour. My grandpa used to drive from where I'm at to down into the Bay Area to go to work every day. Like an hour or 2, yeah, it's shitty, but that's reasonable. And then that way, you know, they get cycled through. They don't spend so long at one precinct, one county. You don't build up such resentment, grudges towards certain individuals, you know.
Keep them
you know,
keep them away from Oakland. That's a rough area, right? Oakland,
California is a very rough area.
Very rough area.
Have you ever heard of the rapper Too Short? That's where he came from.
Yeah.
Back in the late 80s.
So I was living down there for a few months, right on the corner of 62nd and International.
Boulevard.
Yeah,
that's the
bro.
worst place.
East Oakland. I was like 3 blocks from the Ville.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, every single night there were gunshots on the corner. Every single night. Every single night.
It's like that Vallejo now, dude. Vallejo's like mini Oakland.
Well, it's been trying to be for like freaking
10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years, as long as I can remember.
If you live in those neighborhoods, and I've heard this from someone who has lived in those kinds of neighborhoods, you're more likely to to be killed by someone who lives there than by the cops.
100%. 100%.
You may be innocent too. It may just be a stray bullet or a ricochet or something, but there's a lot of so-called in the military, they call it friendly fire when you're accidentally shot by someone who's on your side. So that happens a lot there too.
Not on the same side there though, bud. A lot of them. So.
No.
Well, yeah. I mean, by killing people within their own neighborhood. I know.
Yeah. So anyway, I ordered. Go ahead, Jason, real quick. You first. I
got to talk about this cop thing before you change the subject, bro. As far as I'm concerned, cops shouldn't exist. There's no reason for them. All they do is create more trouble for people. If like these liberal places that we live in, like California, for existence, California has the toughest gun laws in any state of our nation. The only one close is Illinois.
It's the toughest on laws, period.
Yeah, but gun laws specifically, and the reason that I note that is because uh, there's more police there, and the whole thought is that, well, you don't need your guns because the police are here, and if you have a gun, you're a problem. And I disagree with that 100%. I think other than constitutionally elected sheriffs and their deputies, we should have no police whatsoever because these people are unregulated. They're not elected. It's a total bureaucracy, and they control and enforce these unconstitutional laws that come down from our liberal government here in California, such as concealed carry, open carry, uh, the roster. You know, there's only certain pistols and rifles that you can buy in this state. Anywhere else in the country, you could buy whatever you want. But here in California, no, dude, you can't get that Sig Sauer, blah blah blah. You know, and it's a clear and blatant violation, infringement of our rights. And people agree with me. A lot of people agree with me. I mean, agree. You know, I don't want to get into the whole gun rights topic, but as far as I'm concerned, these police are the ones that enforce this bullshit law, whether it be on guns, on taxes, on anything. Who are the people that come to your house with guns to take away your shit? The police.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but
And they're just doing their job. Now,
well,
if you were able to please, Morgan, if you were able to hold on to your weapon and defend yourself like you should be able to from unconstitutional actions, this wouldn't be an issue, and the government wouldn't be doing this.
yeah, I know what you're saying, but I'm not anti-cop, and it's actually because of this video I saw on YouTube. So this woman was being abused by her husband. He wouldn't let her leave the house. He was like threatening her with a gun. He was beating her up. And she came up with this escape strategy where she convinced him to take her dog to the vet. And
I've seen that video.
oh, you saw? Yeah, she passed a note to the
The
receptionist
receptionist,
saying,
yeah.
yeah, saying my boyfriend has a gun. He's threatening me. Please call the cops. And the cops came and arrested him. If there had been no cops, she would have been stuck with that prick and maybe would have killed her by now. So there are good cops and they do serve an important role. But I do get that some of them act like, the Gestapo or, like the fucking SS soldiers in Nazi Germany. They take it too far and,
But
you know.
here's what you're failing to see, Morgan. If the receptionist would have been armed, just like every American should be, and that video did happen in America, I believe. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure.
It was
She would have,
Florida. Yeah.
yeah, Florida. Thank
Mm.
you. Florida is an open carry state, and it's also a constitutional concealed carry state, I believe. That video was, I think, about 7 or 8 years ago. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not sure what the laws were there. They come and they go with the government here. But however, my point being that if that receptionist was armed, like she should be as a good citizen, the police wouldn't have been necessary.
Yeah,
The
but she might have gotten, if she provoked him with a gun, what if he had shot her and killed her?
No, he would have been dead. Like she would have went in there and shot him. Basically, I mean,
But she may not want to. She may, not everyone has that in them.
right.
Yeah.
Fair enough, and
So,
I'll concede that, but it still doesn't validate the point that the police are pointless. It was something that it was in a private business, and it's something that could have been handled in that private business. There was no reason to bring in the state and the state enforcers, because once they were done with that, I guarantee you somebody came in there and checked all the licenses on that business and probably all the freaking registration on all the vehicles in the parking lot while they were sitting out there waiting. And that's what they do, you know.
like the Godfather wedding.
You know, I'm gonna chime in now because I let you guys go for long enough.
Let's hear it, big
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah,
It's been
yeah.
boiling over yet.
I agree with both very much. Well, more so Jason, but I do agree with Morgan, where not everybody has it in them, and cops
No, I agree 100%.
do play a good role sometimes, and not everyone is a bad person. 100%, I agree with all of that. But Jason is right. The police, like I back the blue because I'm not stupid. I know without a police force, crime would be rampant. But so to remove that, you would have to substitute with something else, and that's where local armed militias slash small communal sheriff's posses, things like that, is what would take that place. Because you got to understand that the police, whether they're good or bad, they do whatever the federal government tells them. And Nancy Pelosi and Gavin Newsom could put all the mandates they want in the world in effect, but they wouldn't matter if the police weren't coming to your door to knock on it and say, the Trudeaus and the Biden, none of it would matter without the police force to enforce.
And they say they're just doing their job, just like the freaking Nazis.
I'm just doing my job, exactly. Yeah. So I get what you're saying. I see, like I said, but I believe that there should be some sort of law and order. That's where my conservative comes in. Like, so something has to be in place. And yes, Morgan, in that situation, the cop was helpful.
They protect the vulnerable, women, children. That's important.
Yeah, but why was she vulnerable? I mean, that's a whole other thing, dude.
Well, because she was with this fucking animal, was beating her up and.
Well, no, I think where Jason's going with that, Morgan, is society is being taught to be vulnerable and give all your power over to the police and the government.
Right, and
don't be strength for yourself.
Well, some people are pacifists and some people are not, and she was a pacifist,
And some gazelles get eaten by lions, and some don't.
And
yeah.
You could see how she was like empathetic with the dog. She used the dog for her escape. You know what I'm saying? For her way out.
She had no other option. Like, she was just held prisoner by that guy.
No, that was a smart move. And
yes,
she's already in that bubble, Jason, where she is a victim and she is abused and she can't fight back. She needs someone to fight back for her. Which, okay, she's there, so that's just sucks. So someone needs to,
Actually, Ray, you should include that clip in this video. Actually.
Yeah. I'll totally find it. We'll put some in there because I need to.
For sure.
If I can't find it, I'll ask one of you guys to find it and send me the link or something, you know, because I've never seen it personally, so I don't even know.
It's
No,
old.
yeah,
It's old.
Um, I'm just speaking from, you know, an outside of a completely neutral observer. Like, she did a good job, which she got out of there. She used whatever means necessary.
Yeah. And
she doesn't have the strength to stand up for herself and fight back, I guess. And you're right, it might have got her killed. But see, that's the thing. Like me personally, if someone came into my house and was trying to do something, or if someone was trying to, like, around me was abused, I would fight back, and fear of death wouldn't even cross my mind, you know, because my standing up for myself is always first and foremost, you know, and then secondly is my standing up for others, whether I agree with them or not. And thirdly is the protection of lives of others. I've ran inside a burning building before. I've jumped in front of a car to save a kid before. Like,
Wow.
So there is no hesitation to it. There is no reaction, you know? Like, if I got that note handed to me and I was the reception, and yes, I'm a guy and I'm 6'2" and I'm 2 plus, 50 plus, you know? I get it. I'm different. I'm different than a 5'5", 130-pound woman. Like, I get that, you know? But still, like Jason said, if that chick was armed or and had safety, like one of the hosts that I listen to, he talks about how he's going to have his daughters and kids holding guns and firing guns from the as young as he can. As soon as he's young enough, not old enough, young enough to get them on the range, where it's legal for everybody and makes everybody happy. He's doing it for multiple reasons. One, they need to understand the power of it. You know, if children understood the sheer raw power of a gun, I bet you there'd be less shootings of selves. Because a child picks up a gun, he's never said, "What is this?" It's like in the movies. In the movies, it's.
I don't know.
Who's shot.
I don't
like that.
I don't think they should learn it that young. I think.
Oh no, I
think you need to be mature in order to do that.
That's how they get mature, Morgan. That's how they learn this stuff.
Well, they can learn how to shoot it properly. They can learn how to shoot it properly, but when you consider like what pricks children can be in terms of bullying and everything, like they probably go around like pointing it at the kids who are targeted for bullying.
Well, if you leave it laying around on the bed, yeah, I assume so.
Well, then we get into the whole debate of parenting and child rearing and stuff, and that's not really what we're talking here.
Well, there have been cases where a kid found a gun at home and went and used it, killed someone,
and I can almost guarantee, Morgan, that child had never fired that gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but they succeeded in killing someone. So
okay, and that's the point of it. Children need to learn the power of this, and then on top of it, also you need to learn safety. You need to learn how to stand up for yourself. His daughters are going to learn how to shoot, not only so they learn how the power and the seriousness of this thing. It's not a toy. It's not like in the movies. You know, you don't go, you go, you know, and things die. And also for self-defense, because what's the average cop response time?
Like 12.5 seconds?
Well, no, for a cop to actually show up, it's like 3 minutes or something.
Oh, yeah.
4 minutes. Yeah. So what happens if that guy realized that she gave that lady the note? In that 3 to 4 minutes, he can kill 15, 20 people, you know? So response time, whoever's in that room has the only response time that matters. They're there. 0. So I understand what you're saying. People who can't stand up for themselves do need to be protected and helped. Yes. But I do understand what Jason's saying, where the large police force as a whole is just the right arm of the dictatorship pushing all these bullshit laws, all these vaccine mandates and mask mandates. Guess what? Mandates aren't laws. We don't have to do them. No. And then on top of it, without the cops, there's no one there to enforce them. They don't happen. You know?
Well, you know, I mean, Rudy Giuliani, when he was mayor of New York, he like over-policed the city to the point where if you were having a loud conversation, you could get a ticket. And this is a Republican. The Republicans are supposed to be about less government, right? So, yeah, the police, that didn't make New York better either. Like a lot of people who really loved New York City said it really sucks compared to the way it was like 30 years ago.
I've heard very opposite. I heard Mayor Rudy Giuliani is what we call the country's mayor.
Yeah.
Well, he was after 9/11.
Are you Are you talking about stop and frisk, Morgan? Is that what you're talking about? The stop and frisk policy that Giuliani instituted? Because I can
It
check
wasn't
that.
just that. It was just like I said, if you had a loud conversation or anything, it was just like over policing the city. And
Well, I'm pretty sure that they had the lowest crime rate ever while under him.
Okay,
that's
so
true, but it came at a cost, though. You know, you felt like
I'm going to circle back now. If everybody had a weapon, it's amazing how much more respectful people are and how much the crime rate drops.
Very
New York
true.
City has a zero basically, unless you're like a banker or a celebrity, you don't get a freaking a concealed carry permit to carry a gun that's guaranteed in our Constitution. It just doesn't happen. And if that did happen more and people were even open carrying, even just having a pistol on a hip or a scatter gun or a rifle on your back, people are a lot more respectful and a lot less likely to commit crimes. I mean, unless you're toting around 500 pounds of fucking platinum or something, nobody's going to mess with you if they know that you could potentially end their life.
Except for people with a death wish, But
seeing someone carry around a gun just for no reason would not make me want to befriend that person. But maybe that's the Canadian in me too.
Yeah.
I just feel like
that definitely is because you're like a no gun place. But it's
you won't see a lot of people up here just like casually walking around with guns. Like there was this thing that was happening in the States a while ago of people walking around with automatic weapons strapped to them going into restaurants. Like if I were visiting from Canada and I didn't know about that, I would have been hiding under the table, man. Like what the fuck are they doing?
They were definitely not automatic weapons.
We're not allowed to have automatic weapons.
That's a lie.
Well, these were like MCs. Well, I saw the footage. They were like MC-16 kind of weapons.
They were probably like an AR-15 of it, yeah.
They were long guns, man.
And
they were black and scary, huh?
Well, they were machine guns, yeah. They were what you would use.
No. Machine gun's another fake name made up by Hollywood also, Morgan.
That's what they're doing to our citizens right now.
Well, I don't know guns, really.
I know. And nobody here does either. Well, when I say nobody, I mean like 70% of people that live in metropolises, they don't freaking know. They have no idea. So our politicians are going on the media right now saying just what you're saying and feeling it as honestly as you do. I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying.
No, not at all. 100%. It's just misinformed is all it is, Morgan.
But these media people are doing it on purpose to appeal to people with opinions like you.
Because if they could disarm the public, it's easier to control us.
Right.
But continue, Jason. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. That's exactly what I was getting at. And they it's all bad, dude. It's really simple to look at if you see all the things that are happening, and if you know our country's history that well. I do not know Canada's history whatsoever. So I can't be like, oh, well, why don't you know mine? So please don't get me wrong. But guns are a really big thing in our culture. And it's the backbone of our Constitution. And without the guns, anything else.
There is no independence.
Anything else can be taken away and given, or at the government's.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have
look at Australia.
Well, you don't stand a chance against the government in a firefight. They got the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the ATF, the FBI, the fucking reserves, the National Guard.
That's what they told the Spartans about the Persian army.
Hey, we got the Texas Rangers,
but
Chuck Norris was a Texas Ranger. So
that's right.
That's
Chuck Norris. Yeah, exactly. We got Chuck Norris, dude. I'll take him over the Army any day.
No, I know what you're saying though.
No, I agree with Morgan.
And actually, one of our politicians
got more guns than anybody's soldier of misfortune militia.
I guarantee you that the government is not going to nuke themselves.
No.
You there's this one politician, Swalwell, Eric Swalwell, I think is his name. I can check it if you want, but I'm pretty sure
Oh
that's
man,
his name.
That
I
is
feel
the
bad
man.
for women with that surname.
And yeah, and he looks like a Ken doll, you know, just
Anatomically correct.
just processed straight out of the box. And he's a Democrat, and he says his whole family is Republicans. I never went to research his family. I just took him at his word. But that guy said that something like what you said, Morgan, and he's like, "Oh, if you guys ever revolt, we got nukes." And
Yeah, I don't think the government would use nukes, but they definitely have more guns than, the kind of
Sure,
people, anybody in those militias, those little militias.
look
true,
how
but
look how well U.S. did in Vietnam.
Oh
yeah,
no, they lost. America
no,
lost that.
that's the point he's making, Morgan.
Yeah,
And you're right. They got more guns. Okay, they're not going to just blow up all their cities. So you can get that out of the question. It would be a firefight, and you got to understand a well. I want to say well trained, but a trained person with advantage and cover can take out a lot of people. Ask anybody who's ever been a sniper or who's ever sat up and shot in the military. Like a person who's got advantage. Like if you're in your house on the second story with coverage, and you got a couple people around the house, 4 or 5 of you, you could hold that house for a while and take a lot of people out until
it's
they
not until they know
blow,
you're there. Yeah.
yeah, and start blowing things up. So as long as they're not blowing up cities and recklessly because you got to understand the government, even if they wanted to take over, like force things on you, they're I would imagine they're going to try to avoid just genocide. They would
Well,
try to avoid that. Um,
I wouldn't call it genocide.
well, if they start ending everybody, it would be, if who's fighting back. Um,
Well, not
but
ending everybody. America's like a freaking cauldron of ethnicity, so you couldn't really call it genocide if like we started killing ourselves because we're not a race as an American. You know what I mean?
yeah, I guess
Yeah,
you're
there's
right.
no
I guess you're
DNA
right.
test that would
Yeah.
come up American.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That'd be funny, dude. I said mine in because remember I was talking about that on the other show, Morgan, because I don't know who my blood grandpa actually was. I sent it back in, and it comes back, and it's just all 100% American.
yeah, I guess. I
uh,
mean, but that when you break it down, it's like in your case, maybe that's like English and
well, that's,
Irish or something
I
like
mean,
that.
yeah, because I got a lot. Like I know that there's, I
McMurray,
mean,
that's a Scottish name, right?
Ah, geez. I've always believed it's Scottish, and there's a much argument if it's Scottish or Irish. It depends on what website you search, but I'm like Raymond. I've never met my biological grandfathers on either side. Uh, I knew my grandmothers, but my family trees, as far as I know, it only goes about that far, you know?
Well, you know what? I'll tell you about Canadian history for a moment in a way that integrates the 6 degree of separation principle. One
Like
of
Kevin
my
Bacon?
ancestors, one of my ancestors was one of the fathers of Confederation in America. I think that's the founding fathers. That's the equivalent, the Canadian equivalent. And so he was one of the men who signed, basically bringing the country together. He persuaded my home province of Nova Scotia to join Confederation. He organized the first provincial government of Manitoba. So he was a big deal. And also one
I
of the
knew I
his,
liked you, Morgan.
yeah. So he's got. I got a lot of roots in this country, and I'm also 2% Native Canadian. As in Indian. So I've
What
got.
what it, what tribe?
I don't know for sure. It might be. There's one
It's
called
not the
Mi'kmaq.
Canadian tribe. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Well, it's the Mi'kmaq. I think so. That's the one who seems to be dominant where I'm from.
Your area.
But
Yeah.
somebody banged a native chick somewhere around. Someone they got pregnant. So
There's this popular ski destination not too far from where I'm at in the Sierra Nevada, going over towards Nevada, and it was called Squaw Valley. Uh,
squaw.
Actually, the Olympics, the Winter Olympics were held there in '82, I think, in the '80s.
Well, up here, squaw is like a racist epithet for Native people.
Yeah, they just changed the name this year. It's been called Squaw Valley for the last 40 years, and they just changed the name this year because something like what you just said. It's not Squaw Valley anymore.
Did they change the name of Cleveland Indians? Did that
Which
happen?
is all a bunch of BS. It's a bunch of white people pushing politically correctness upon other people. Okay, number one, squaw, I believe, means like little woman or something. It's not even a bad derogatory remark. Matter of fact, there was a rock up here, up north of Sonoma County, that was called Squaw Rock because hundreds of years ago, a beautiful prince, or it's like little princess or something. I don't remember what it means. Something like that along those lines.
Pocahontas.
Yeah. she threw herself off of it and committed suicide because her love had died or something.
Hey,
and
do you know Pocahontas was 13 years old, and that dude John that she married was like 28?
Yeah,
there,
and there
was no government. There was no government, no laws, so you could bang 13-year-olds back then,
There were no police to enforce not doing that shit. Boom.
Yeah, right. You just stay away from those Wild West towns with the sheriff and you're golden, right? So.
Yeah, like them little girls, you know that.
Sheriff.
Go out in the jungle.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a bunch of bullshit. Like I said, it's white people mostly thinking that we're being politically correct for everybody. Okay, I was in prison the first time that they were talking about getting rid of the Redskins name, Washington Redskins. Okay, and so check this out. I had a job. The job I had in there, I was the lead clerk for the community resource manager.
Where? At San Quentin, California?
No, not this time. This was up at Jamestown.
Oh, Jamestown, Hangman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I worked for the community resource manager. I helped him oversee and make sure, all religious and self-help services. So all the chaplains, all the deacons, all the spiritual Native American people, the free staff who came in and brought in self-help groups like AA, NA, whatever. They all dealt with me and talked to me. And then I went to my boss type of thing. Well, anyway, so I was in direct connection and had a rapport with the Native Americans, with the Indian dudes, and they had their own little area that was fenced off that they could have their sweats. It was because it's a religious service that they were allowed to have. It'd been fought for. So in California state prisons, the Native Americans are allowed to sweat. I believe it's every other Saturday or something like that. Or it's every third Saturday.
Oh, so it was like a sweat lodge?
Yeah, literally, they have a little. I don't want to. It's not a teepee or a wigwam, but whatever they make for the sweat, they've got one of those. They're allowed to sweat. Yes, and so it's pretty cool.
Badass. Did you start hallucinating after you sweat so much?
Yeah, no. So anyway,
was there a 12-step program for guys who are addicted to raping other guys? My name is Jed, and I'm a rapeaholic.
No, there was Morgan, but it's a one-step program. Don't rape dude. Step one.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
Anyway, I went up to them and I asked them. I straight up asked them. I said, "Hey, I want to know because honestly, it really doesn't matter if anyone else or if I don't care even if I am this much Native American. I'm not I don't identify as." So it doesn't matter my feelings. It doesn't matter these girls on TV's feelings. What are your guys' feelings about the Redskins name? And you know what? There's about 30 of them. These are inmates. These are prisoners. These are dudes who
There's
fucking
like
cut people.
there's like 30 Indians out of like 500 dudes in that fucking wing, huh?
Yeah.
Well, here
Well,
that would be a much bigger controversy here. It would be huge.
And I asked them, and they all said no. Not a single. It was a sense of pride for all of them. All these names were prideful to them. Chief, like Redskin for them was like something, but to them, it didn't mean that. Like, and it still doesn't. Like, it was a sense of pride, just like Chiefs and other things. Like, it's like we're trying to, by trying to be politically correct, we're wiping other races out of existence. Any representation they have. The Chiefs are like the last representation they have. You get rid of that, there are no more Native Americans, whether it's Indians, Braves, whatever, represented. You get what I'm saying? Like, you want to talk about representation?
Well, one form of reputation. One form of representation that was considered racist for a while is that, you know how in a lot of cigar shops they have like an Indian, like a wooden Indian there? Like, is it racist, or are they representing for them? Because, I mean, the cigar shop Indian looks.
Well, let me put it this
dignified,
way.
How can you make a statue into a racist? That's all I want to know.
Yeah,
exactly. Because I mean, seriously, it's
like saying guns kill people.
No. Just how could you perceive a statue of a Native American with a full headdress, right? Is that the racist part?
Well, they say that's a
stereotype.
They say it's a stereotype, and it is true. They don't wear those like in their everyday lives. They don't go grocery shopping wearing those things. But in their spiritual ceremonies, the chiefs do wear those headdresses.
Yes. No,
you know the tobacco trade was a big thing with the Native Americans when we first settled this land. Yeah.
Now they wore feathers and things all the time.
Oh yeah.
But the big headdresses came out on special occasions. Yes.
That's what Morgan said. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just concurring. But like, it's not a stereotype. Like, I mean, I guess it is. It's an actuality. People want to say, "Oh, that's a stereotype." Well, stereotypes are stereotypes because they're true.
Where do you always see these statues? You see them at tobacco stores.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. Yeah, the cigar store Indian.
Yeah. And not to mention, go to any Native American casino or tobacco shop itself, and guess what? You're going to see one of them statues somewhere around.
Yeah, that's on the logo.
And so, once again, no, it's not racist. It's people looking for racism. Like, right now in America, what is it? Let's see here. Air conditioning is racist. Homes are racist. Ice cream is racist.
Yeah. Oh, they'll find it anywhere.
No. Yeah, you can. Here, watch. Fuck. I'll just start.
If you say good morning, it's racist. I'm sure for somebody as privileged as you, they have the mornings just wonderful. Think about how it is. Yeah, they'll fight. They got a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's try something. Are cats racist?
I once knew a guy whose
cats are racist. Yes, you read it correctly. The next time you meet a bunch of cats, watch what they do. They only spend time with their own colors. They are totally racist. So cats are fucking racist now.
I once knew a guy who had a dog that was racist. She didn't like people of color. She lived with a white family, and she was very hostile towards people of color. So
my dog doesn't like Mexicans.
Is that right?
Yeah. My best friend, my other best friend,
Bacon's racist.
His son is half Mexican American, and he looks totally Mexican. Like he
did the video, the
fire
video.
Yeah. Dude, if he walks in unannounced, the dogs go off on him.
Wow. Like, and he does look totally Mexican to me. That's true.
It's not like I said. It's not like a culture thing. She just doesn't like brown people.
Well, they're not used to seeing them. They would definitely get alarmed, I guess. Ray, you don't have any dogs, right?
Well,
Not,
I mean,
not anymore.
not anymore. I did. I had to put mine down a while
Oh,
back. We got Macho, but he's old and tiny. He's a Maltese Chihuahua. So he is Mexican, so he doesn't mind Mexicans. Um,
I hate Chihuahuas.
you feed him
yeah,
fried beans.
yeah. Well, he's not like he's a mix. He's a Maltese Chihuahua. So if you see him, he doesn't actually. I mean, he looks like a Chihuahua because he's small, or actually probably about this big. But he's got like longer, curlier hair. Like he's not. He's definitely not. He doesn't bark. He doesn't do any of that shit. Like he has almost no characteristics of a Chihuahua except for he looks kind of like he's missing most of his teeth except for the bottom. So he looks like those gargoyles that used to sit on the buildings. All.
Oh, like the Naked Gun gargoyles.
Yeah.
Small dogs lose their teeth a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
I don't. I can barely stand them, but you know.
Well, they do use their teeth a lot for many things, not just eating. So, oh, and I wanted to. You invited me to do my IRS rant. So I did some research on it. So what has happened is the IRS, and this precedes Biden. They wanted more powers to collect tax money, but they needed more funding to do it because you do need a lot of civil servants to process it all. So they needed I think it was $90 billion to do it. And
Billion with a B.
Biden gave them the money, and so now, so the money I'm making from YouTube, they're taxing that money, even though I'm not a citizen of the United States, but I'm paying taxes to the government of the United States. And by the way, I did the math, they're taking about 65% of every payment. So this month I was supposed to get $1,600. I got $666. So they're fucking me that way. Soon I get money.
Whoa, you got 666?
Well, I actually had money there before, so I guess I'll just round it off and say $600.
I was going to say that was quite specific and very,
That's how it rounded up.
Let's not get biblical, okay, guys? Come on.
That's how it
simmer down now.
Another episode.
And there was also PayPal. I received Patreon money through that, so they're going to tax that. And you guys are actual citizens, so don't be surprised if you end up being audited. You better make sure all your tax-related data is in order, because they're coming to get taxes, more and more taxes. So, I mean, what has happened to me is just scratching the surface. You guys better be careful about all that shit, because, like I said, the IRS is out for more money. I think they're trying to get like $1 trillion, maybe $3 trillion.
3.5 trillion actually is what they're looking for, Morgan. And this is exactly what I warned about when I was campaigning against Biden for president. You know, and everybody was angry about the mean tweets and
your feelings, dude.
All this shit, and nobody was looking at the facts, dude. And here come the taxes, and it's not going to get any better.
Oh no, it's going to get worse.
And it never goes back. It's referred to as a ratchet down. It clicks, it don't go back. It clicks again, it don't go back. Just like a ratchet.
Yeah, I was thinking about how in the WWF there was a wrestler called the IRS. And
I remember him.
He was a heel, and I totally understand why they because people hate the IRS. And I never thought as a Canadian that the IRS was ever going to be a problem for me. And look where we are.
And the worst thing about it too is, especially for us. I mean, your guys might not. I don't know what's his name, Trudeau or whatever. I don't know what he's doing with your guys' money up there. But they got something different. They got the Canadian Bureau of something or something like that, right?
The Canada Revenue Service, yeah.
There it is.
Is that your IRS?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
All right.
But anyway, Biden.
Do they have guns?
What was that?
Do they have guns?
Well, not that agency. Do the IRS have guns?
Yes.
Or do they just kind of?
Every agency in America has guns.
I didn't know the IRS had them. Wow.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. That's really They can
Wonder
they can arrest you, right?
They could shoot you.
Wow.
They could shoot and kill
See,
you.
in
Fucking
Canada, they can't even arrest.
CPS has guns, bro.
They
Child
can't
Protection
even arrest you
Services.
here. Did you say CPS has guns?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? They kind of need them because they do sometimes go to
They.
houses where there
Yeah.
are people with guns who are hostile.
I will agree with that.
Yeah.
I will agree with that. But
And the guys who like
that's just
evict
a freaking an example of the society we live in.
well, like the sheriffs who evict people, they carry guns.
Well, I
Social
don't know.
workers.
Here in America, sheriffs are elected,
Yeah.
and like CPS workers and social workers and shit
They're
are
just hired.
not. They're just hired.
Yeah.
They're bureaucracy.
Bureaucratically
Bureaucratic.
appointed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking. What was I saying? What I was trying to say a minute ago was that with taxes, yes, they're just going to keep going up, but it's going to be doubly worse because of inflation. Because the way our president in this Democratic Party just likes to print money, and the thing is, you can't just print money. You actually have to have goods.
That devalues the currency.
Yes,
Yes.
totally.
Like a
That's 100%.
That's what inflation
That's
is.
what.
like
So
little
like,
Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe. He's no longer the leader, but when he was, he printed money, and it got to the point where it cost like $5 billion for a loaf of bread. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's
why
like Venezuela
it's like,
is a perfect example.
Funny
yeah,
money. That's what they used to
yeah,
call it.
yeah. That's why it's like 80,000 yen to buy a can of Coke in fucking China because they just printed a bunch of money. They got a bunch of money.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, let's say there's only so many of these, and we've only got this much money, so it makes it more valuable. When I put a whole bunch more money in this hand, this instantly loses value because I got a whole bunch more of this. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Well, supply and demand, yeah.
yeah, you know, we have to have the goods to back the money because money is just paper. Otherwise, we might as well be trading bottle caps like it's fucking.
That's basically what we're doing
Fallout.
right now.
Yeah, you know.
Ever since they devalued the dollar and took away the gold standard and the silver standard, that's basically what we're doing is trading bottle caps.
Yeah.
Trading pieces of paper with dead people's faces on it.
Now, when I receive money from America, because the exchange rate, I get more usually, but actually when I get the money from Google and YouTube, it's the same amount coming to my account. So they even f me that way. So I don't know.
I think
The IRS, man.
I wish there was some way to challenge it, but I tried calling the IRS. You're not allowed to call them from another country.
you try to email them.
Well, you guys probably wouldn't be able to get through either. So
no, it's an endless web, but you should try to email them, Morgan.
yeah, they can ignore me that way probably.
Well,
or send me like a form email. Yeah.
They only want to talk to you if you owe them money. Is there
Yeah,
any way?
pretty much,
Is there a way that you can get around this?
I don't know if there's like an international tax lawyer here or maybe a regular tax lawyer that I could speak to. I don't know if there's anything that can be done about it.
Well,
the government.
I would talk to your legislature. I mean,
the United States government said like if you're receiving money from a company in the United States, you got to pay taxes. But the thing is the things that tax dollars pay for, like the fire department and all the things that you enjoy as part of your quality of living, I don't enjoy it. I don't receive mail in the United States. I'm paying for it and I'm not getting it. So what's the point?
Well, you do receive the benefit of American protection. Canada is protected by the American military.
Oh, shit.
No, that is true. They don't have a military. They can be invaded at any time. They could be.
Morgan is a perfect example of taxation without representation.
Yes. 100%. I agree. But I'm just simply stating that there are benefits that Canada does get from America.
And if I'm paying the taxes,
but you're right.
But that's aside the point, though. That's not what we're talking about.
No, he's
that's
right.
not what we're talking about.
He's right, but see, it's not just Canada though, because when that happened to you, Morgan, I looked into it. You texted me and when we were discussing it, I started looking into to see what it was, and America, it ain't just Canada, it's any country. You can live in New Zealand, and if you have a YouTube channel, you're paying taxes.
Oh yeah, all across the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's because they're trying to get this freaking this 3.7 trillion, which is actually 6.4 trillion dollar.
They're not going to give up after they get that money.
No, more.
It's always going to be more, dude.
Well, you know what? They spent money on those unwinnable wars for Afghanistan and Iraq. This is
the Green New Deal. I don't know if you've heard about that. I sorry to interrupt you. This is the Green New Deal, and this is what's going to happen. And it freaking ratchets down. Everybody's going to pay their fair share. No.
Yeah. Well, it's not fair if it's 65%. If you define fair as in 50-50, they've gone beyond fair. And initially they said they would tax it to the rate of like 35%. That's way more than 35%. 1,000 out of 1,600. I mean, that's almost 2/3, right?
Welcome to America.
Yeah. They tax like that all the time.
To hear this horse shit about, they got to pay their fair share. Well, it's like, say your salary was like $1 million a year. You're taking home about $400,000. That's what you're actually getting. That's the gross pay is your pay after taxes, right? So that's your gross pay.
See, that's another slippery slope right there, though. So like, if all right, let's so Morgan, you produce and do podcasts, right?
Yep.
And say, you've been doing, I know you have been doing and fighting for this, and you grew it from the ground up. You went from 0 viewers to like 100 and 200,000, something like that, to 125,000.
20,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, and many more views. And so that's something that you grew.
Yeah, I've been working my ass off, yeah.
Exactly. Now, say you get a phenomenal show like Fact You, and all of a sudden you go to a million a million viewers, right? Just numbers. We're just numbers. And now all of a sudden you employ over 100 people for editors and getting content, web hosts, and blah, 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 and everything that's entailed in there, right? Now, according to U.S. law, you have to make sure that every single one of your employees are vaccinated. And you're going to start paying about, what did you say you're at, 64? Now, you're making over $1 million a year now, so now you're going to pay 70%. Where's the cutoff? Where's the cutoff for things that you earned, you worked for?
Well,
how do you justify people taking the fruit of your labor? Now, if you didn't do anything, you'd still be paying this base tax rate. But you actually produced, you performed, you made things happen, you worked your ass off, and now the government wants to take 70%. I don't think so. That's not fair. How can you see that as fair?
When they're like calling for, liberals are calling for tax the rich. I'm not rich. I'm not a millionaire, not a billionaire. Taking $1,000 from me isn't going to solve anybody's problems. And I'm thinking of all the Americans who do what I do, who are making a living from their YouTube channel, who are feeding their goddamn kids with that money, and now he's taking most of their money away. So has he not really considered that Americans, the average American who does this for a living, has less money? Does it help the economy when people have less money to spend? Like, I remember 1996, Steve Forbes was a candidate for the presidency. He was I think he was an independent, And he proposed
Yeah.
this idea of a flat tax, and they made fun of him for it or criticized him for it. But I don't think it's such a bad idea. I don't remember what the rate was that he proposed, but I'm thinking like 20%, which is kind of like, 25% would be reasonable.
It was a flat tax with no income tax and what's it called? When you buy stuff, not a sales tax, a consumer tax.
Consumer tax, yeah. So it would be the same rate for everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and
that is fair.
And they laughed him out of town, but
that would have been great.
I didn't think it was such a bad idea, but people wrote him off as a crank at the time,
Now, Morgan, you have to understand that is part of the liberal lie, dude. Tax the rich is part of the lie. That they're not really intending to just tax the rich. It's to everybody.
The middle
class. And see, what the problem is most people don't realize how much the rich are actually already being taxed. So if you ask, they'd go, 30%, 40%. No, they're around 60, 70%, depending on what states. Jason's not lying. So if they raised it up 2%, so if they went from 65 to 68%, and they said, we're going to tax them 68% now, the average person would go, yes, see, they're taxing the rich. Mine went up 10%, but they're taxing them 68%. Well, yeah, but they only raised theirs 2%. You get what I'm saying? Like,
the United States,
it's everybody's taxes are going up. It's a mask and a screen. That's what the leftists do. That's what the Democrats do. They mask everything under the guise of what social justice and politically correctness wants to hear, and it's not what they're actually doing. It's like the Green New Deal. It's like the fucking Biden's infrastructure built, like $3 trillion infrastructure thing that he just signed a little back. There was only a handful of things that was about infrastructure. The rest of it were about buyouts for Democrat cities and paying other countries money. It's just like the first stimulus check that was like couple billion dollars. Only like 12% of it went to stimulus. The rest of it went to like $10 million to Pakistan transgender studies and shit like that. It's I'm dead serious. It's serious. So it's a mess. And I will put the link in for that. Yeah. It's a mask. They hide it behind things. It's like AOC wearing that tax the rich dress that was made and given to her by a fucking rich ass dressmaker at a party that cost $35,000 a ticket. And you want to talk about tax the rich? How about not have this party, throw that dress in the dumpster, donate all the money that this cost? There you go. How about do something like that? No,
well, these days you'd have to make like at least 150,000 to be comfortable, like not to worry about bills and shit. But if that's your salary, you're taking home probably more like fucking $70,000 or something.
Oh, so it's less than that.
Get ahead,
It's less than that. My wife.
The more you make, the more you get taxed.
Progressive tax system,
yeah. Yeah, we're like riding the tax cusp, the progressive thing. My wife and I, we did about 110 or 105,000 last year between the two of us, and it was not comfortable.
Net pay, right?
That was paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean?
So that was take home pay.
And no, that was gross.
Oh,
and, yeah, the take home was. I don't even want to look.
Well, we're also part of it because
we were paying 40. We were paying 40%. We got everything from the state that on our taxes, but we've got so many bullshit things. I mean, what's it called? Social Security.
I'm not getting Social Security.
No, we're not.
Give me that, even though I pay tax, I'm not going to get Social Security.
It's due to be bankrupt in like another 7 years or so.
Yeah, the baby boomers are all getting old now.
Yeah, and there's not enough people here to pay into it. That's part of the theory that some people talk about while they're allowing all these immigrants to come in through the border and stuff right now.
Well, I was thinking about that this morning, and part of it was because since a Democrat's president, they figured they'd be more lenient about letting them in. But I think I have a theory.
No, Biden told everyone to come on in when he was running.
Should someone who is here without documents, and that is his only offense, should that person be deported?
That person should not be the focus of deportation.
But you guys, you see, patriotism in America is like patriotism on steroids. Fucking America, bitch! And I think after they've seen so much of that in movies and TV
That's
that they
because we
think
have guns.
that they've heard people say that stuff and they're like, oh, America's the best country in the world. Let's go there. You know what I'm saying? So you guys, maybe if you guys turn down the patriotism from 11 down to maybe 5, you know what I'm saying?
No.
All right, Morgan, I'm going to disagree 100% with you on this. And
Oh,
here's why.
No,
Let me explain why. Because number one, having pride in America and USA are the only two things you can't have. You're not allowed to be.
Yeah, that's racist.
If you wave an American flag, it's racist. If you're proud to be an American, it's racist. If you're proud to be white, it's racist. But yet you can Puerto Rico, and everyone can run around being proud of my country and whatever they want. And that's all fine.
Hey, Puerto Rico is.
Will Smith has more privilege than you.
Of course.
Yes, he does.
Trust me, if I'm waiting in the bagel shop to get a bagel and I'm next in line and fucking Will Smith, Oprah, Obama, and LeBron walk in, trust me, I'm not getting served first.
It's money. Money has the privilege.
That's the only privilege that exists. Yes. But what I was trying to say was, no. So you gotta understand, Morgan. Everywhere in the world, only in America do people say like it's not. America is the best country in the world, and I dare anyone to name one better.
Canada.
Name one. I'm sorry, I disagree 100%. How long does it take?
The healthcare.
Yeah, but how long do you have to wait for shit? Like people.
No, I think
a woman broke something just a while back and had to wait like 17 months to get her fucking X-ray up there.
Well, was it an emergency? Because
she broke her fucking back or something.
Well,
that's the thing. We wait like 45 minutes.
COVID has slowed things down, but also there's also the issue of how an emergency triage works. The guy having the heart attack gets treated first before the person who's spraining their ankle. So I think that's led to a lot of people thinking that it's slow, but it's just because if you're waiting a while, it's because you're just, you're not a priority. The guy who got shot, they have to save that person's life. If I go in there,
that's the way it is here too, Morgan. But you're still not going to be waiting around for very long.
17 months.
But on the other hand, someone could go into an American hospital with a head cold and get a bill for $80,000 because they're like, well, you need this test and this and that, and you got to pay everyone's salary, and so you can end up with a huge bill for nothing, really.
Actually, you don't have to pay those bills.
You don't have to pay them?
Collection agency cannot come after you for medical bills.
Well, that's good. That's at least,
What's it called? The Hippocratic Oath, I believe.
Hippocratic Oath, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's the thing. We got free insurance. If you make nothing, you can go get Medi-Cal or whatever. Each state has it. Like, I got health care. I'm covered from my surgery. Doesn't cost me nothing. My son's birth didn't cost me nothing.
You know how much I paid for my son's birth?
A lot.
$9,300.
You know why? What? Because he has regular insurance.
But that was
I got the free broke bitch insurance, and it's covered. So I got exactly what you got, Morgan. Plus I don't have to wait. Plus I get all my pills like right away. Like I go down to see my doctor before I can get to the store. My prescription's already filled.
Yeah.
You know what I think? I think we need to organize a mass Canadian migration to stamp out all the Haitians, and we'll just get a bunch of Chinooks like Morgan and shit, and you just come down
the northern border,
and we'll show you guys what real bacon looks like and how to shoot guns, and you all fucking love it because we got tons of beer.
I'll tell you something I admire about the American character, and it's not something that exists here. You guys are much more willing to take risks, like with movies, a space program. Recorded music, it goes on and on. You guys, even when it comes to a goofy product like the Snuggie, I mean, someone followed to make money. But in Canada, they're just so shitless of taking a risk that you just don't see that kind of innovation there usually. And I mean, in some regards, it's paid off in terms of having a secure banking system, but by and large, it's not a good place to be in the arts, to be in show business. Whereas in America, there are more people willing to take a risk on that. So.
That's what makes us Americans, and I appreciate that, Morgan. And you're spot on. Being innovative, taking risks, being free to do so
There's
It's not
no
that.
country. No, there's
is
no
what
country where you're
makes
more
us.
free than in America. Not
Well,
even in Canada.
Well,
it's not
not
that.
anymore, but
It's not
that's
that.
how it's supposed to be.
And it's not that Canadians are not capable of doing great things. Like
No, of
James
course
Cameron
not.
is Canadian. One of the top, like Dennis Muren, is one of the top special effects guys for the movies of all time. He's
Trailer Park
Canadian.
Boys.
Yep.
Steven Crowder from Louder with Crowder, dude. He's got
Some
like 5
huge,
million. He's huge, dude. He's
I
some
like
Canadian.
I like
Drake
Crowder.
is Canadian.
huge
You
music
know,
stars. Yep. There's lots of people. Lorne Michaels with Saturday Night Live. A lot of great comedians came from my country,
tons.
but
But
they
I love
had to
Canada.
go. But they had to go to the United States to get the
Isn't
opportunities.
isn't Rush from Canada?
Rush. Yep. They were a
Yep.
Rush.
Canadian
Yep,
band. Yep.
definitely, definitely.
So yeah, it's sorry about Bryan Adams, by the way. Uh,
I like
sorry
Brad
about Celine
Adams.
Dion, but yeah, she was huge. She's global success, but they had to go to the
Well,
States.
it's the land of opportunity, and that's how it's supposed to be. And I think that's
And that's
part of
because of the
like
freedom and
what you're
capitalism.
yeah, and you're starting to feel personally, Morgan, the restraint on that. Raymond and I have felt it for quite a while living in the state we live in, but throughout the country with this, it's like a democratic monopoly. And our country isn't a democracy, we're a constitutional republic.
Public. Yep.
And we use the democratic process for election, but we have inalienable rights. And what's happened is in the last 15, 20 years or so, our children aren't getting taught that in school anymore. And they're not learning about like our history. They're
Because the history
they're
is racist.
right.
They're learning that and about LGBTQIAZWX
Like
Yeah.
no,
stuff.
yeah, well, yeah,
CRT, BLM.
like nobody knows that the state of Georgia was a freaking penal state. That's where we sent all the convicts and the freaking
Really, I didn't know about that. Yeah.
and the people that were like way in debt that like owed their ass. You're going to Georgia.
No,
No.
Uh,
no, no. Most people don't know that the Democratic Party founded the Ku Klux Klan,
Yeah, they
yeah,
used
and
to
that
be the
that
racist.
the
Yeah,
that the Republicans are the ones that fought for people's freedom.
they released the slaves. Yeah.
Lincoln was the Republican. Like, do you know who gave black and women the right to vote? White Republican men.
Republicans.
White
Yeah.
Republican men. Because blacks and women weren't voting to vote for that in. It
Well,
was white Republican men who voted it in.
we keep hearing shit about the patriarchy. Is there one goddamn thing a woman can't do in the United States of America?
No, no.
A woman ran for president, and
Yeah.
she got most
No,
of the popular vote, so she
actually,
can't do anything. So
even Google will tell you, and for those who don't know, I'm not a fan of Google. I don't trust Google. I try not to use it, but I do use it sometimes. But Google will even tell you that women make up over 51% of the world's workforce.
Yeah, there's more
Okay?
women
And
in
there-
the
and there's more
population.
women.
There's more women than men in the world.
and
Yeah,
they're outnumbering men when it comes to like getting a college diploma.
yeah,
Yeah.
almost 3 to 1.
So yeah, where's
And
the goddamn patriarchy exactly?
exactly, patriarchy doesn't exist. Anyone who says it does,
Saudi
I
Arabia.
dare you to.
Saudi
I dare you to go try
Arabia
to
has
touch your son.
Saudi Arabia has a patriarchy. Iran has a patriarchy. America is not a patriarchy.
Afghanistan has a
Canada is not a
patriarchy.
patriarchy. Yeah.
Hey, did you see how when our government now is upset that Afghanistan isn't adding more women to their fucking shit? Like, you need
Since
to be
when
more
did they ever do
diverse.
that? Since when did
Well,
they ever do
exactly.
that?
No, never. They're down there painting over women's fucking murals on walls and shit. Women are back
Oh.
to cover. They made it illegal for girls to be in school again, like already. Okay.
They said the Taliban released a Twitter earlier today, actually, that said that it's okay to chop off thieves' hands.
But Donald Trump's banned.
I used to hate Donald Trump, but he may have grabbed a few but he didn't have his hand on my pocket.
You know, he actually didn't grab a few pussies.
Oh, he never did it?
And,
Oh.
No, he was in a conversation with a buddy making dirty jokes and comments.
Oh, so he wasn't
like
serious.
every man has. Now, is it okay? And I'm like, no, okay, maybe you shouldn't be making dirty. But, like, chicks don't sit around with their girlfriends. They think in private conversations talking about, man, I'd grab that. Look at that swinging, you know? Like,
well, I still don't like the fact that he mocked the disabled guy. I think that was a really shitty thing to do. But yeah, like I said, I mean, he wasn't trying to take money.
Did you watch the whole speech, or just the part where he's making fun of the guy? Do you know what the guy's doing? I mean, 'cause you got to understand, it's like them saying how he said Mexicans are rapists and murderers. That is not at all what he said. Even close.
I got to interject here. What about when Biden told the freaking handicapped vet to stand up, the paraplegic?
Yeah, that was tone deaf. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't expect politicians to be smart all the time.
Not if their name is Joe Biden. No.
Definitely not. You know, that guy's been wrong on every foreign affair for 50 years. Every single one. Every single one.
He's been in politics for
50 years.
Well, I mean, if I were a world leader, I wouldn't have anything to do with any of those fucking countries. You can't change them. They want things to be the way they are there. Stay the fuck away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, Afghanistan's not going to fucking change. So just leave them alone. Don't give them any money. Don't send any military there. Let them kill each other if they want to.
We, the United States, just gave them a fucking military, man. You don't even know.
You know how much we left
hundreds of thousands of small arm weapons.
Tanks.
Your country's trillions of dollars in debt because of the war in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That was a waste.
Joe Biden voted for that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but George W. Bush was the one who initiated it.
That dude was a moron.
Yeah. So I mean that's why they're trying to get this tax money to fill in to replace the trillions of dollars they lost because of an unwinnable war. So
now they're trying to get this tax money to push this new Green Deal is what they're trying to do.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
That money's already gone and spent. It's already paid.
Well, thank God I'm so grateful I don't have kids, because to have this happen to me, and I know there are a lot of YouTube content creators who have kids who are probably now forced to go and work at McDonald's or something because of what you know.
My children's children will be paying for this.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised.
And they'll also be paying $40,000 for a can of Coke.
Well, I mean, I know you guys probably aren't in favor of this, but I think you should raise the minimum wage to a lot higher, because it's not commensurate with inflation.
No, the minimum wage should be zero.
Yeah, minimum wage is actually kind of drives inflation.
It's ruining work.
Well, but with the way corporations work is, if they can get away with paying you $1 an hour, they will.
No, and they should.
Don't work there then.
Yeah, don't accept that money.
But some people have no other options.
No, yes, they do, Morgan. There's 10 million jobs in America right now. There's more jobs than there's ever been in the history.
But not everybody has what it takes to be a white collar. You know what I'm saying?
It's not all white collar. That's the thing, Morgan. These are all common misconceptions of people. Do you know what? 48% of people in a study just the other day on why they're not taking it, because it's not the type of work they want to do.
Well, nobody wants to, but a lot of people really have, like I have. Nobody will hire me to do anything.
Now, let me tell you, you drive minimum wage up, you're going to have less people working. Small businesses can't afford that. They're just going to fire people. Now, what the thing is it should be the minimum wage should be zero.
They'll adjust. They raised the minimum wage here to $14 an hour a few years ago, and they adjusted. They said all these things, but eventually they just paid the wages, and people making more and stimulated.
How much does a gallon of milk cost there, Morgan?
Like $4 or $5.
Or you do liters, huh?
But it was like that before they raised.
That's the thing, Morgan. The cost of living just needs to come down, not the wage go up.
But it doesn't help the economy of people.
How much does a chicken cost? Like if you want to go get a Foster Farm, no brand, a chicken from the grocery store. How much does a chicken cost?
Like an
How much-
uncooked chicken.
Yeah, in a bag,
That's
you know.
I
Sorry.
don't know that. Well, I think it's probably less than $10. I'm not sure. I don't know the price of that.
All right. Well, what if you want to
Well,
get a
see what
pound of hamburger?
Well, the real reason that we have high prices here is because there's not enough competition. Like in America, there's a million grocery stores, there's a million burger joints that are
That's because
competing.
Well,
So
no,
we
they,
have
it's also because
capitalism.
businesses have to pay their employees more, so they charge more to their consumers. It's just a fact. I can't afford to pay all my employees this money, so I'm going to let some go, and I'm going to charge my customers more. That's how minimum
but
wage
eventually
works.
they adjust. But you see, inflation will keep
Not really, Morgan.
inflation,
Not really. Not really.
but
Hold on.
inflation keeps going up, and people are not making
I'm
enough
trying to say
money
shit
to
too.
live. So
Well, no, that's because that's a cost of living. That's a cost of living issue, Morgan.
No,
It
it's
keeps
because of
going
the
up.
taxes.
Well, yes, that's cost of living, Jason. That's all part of cost of living. Taxes, rent, PG&E. That's cost of gas. That's cost of living. Okay.
If the government wasn't taking 70%, what'd you say, Morgan?
And
50,
and charging so
60%?
much for everything,
Yeah.
then
And
yes. And
you,
that's the thing.
you would have the money to be able to go and contact a doctor and be like, oh, hey, I've got a broken leg.
well, I don't have to worry about that because I don't have to
I've
worry
got
about that. We have universal health care here.
see
So
that's the comparison I'm trying to make though. I've got a broken leg. So part of your universal health care is they're taking all your money that you earned. Now, if you had that money for yourself and you could save it and invest it and do with it as you please, you would have a lot more money than what they took from you. Then you would be in a position to say, yeah, I've got what's it called? I've got hepatitis. Here's $10,000. Help me out, doctor. And the doctor would help you out. Whereas if you just pay your taxes and wait to see what'll happen, they're just going to keep taking this money out. You think $10,000 sounds like a lot? Wait until they do that for freaking 10, 15, 20 years of your life without you ever having an ailment.
well, it doesn't bother me. Having health care here, these arguments they kind of run off me like rain. I mean,
That's cool.
Australia raised their minimum wage to $20 an hour right before the recession of 2008 hit, and they avoided the worst effects of that global recession. So
Do you know how much a pair of Levi's costs in Australia?
I don't know.
Last time I checked was about 8 years ago, and it's about $150. I bet you it's more closer to $5 now. Um, and if we want to talk about Australia, let's look at some human rights and police brutality.
There
Did you
are
hear?
none.
Every time you leave your home,
You right to jail.
you exercise,
Jail.
carpool,
Jail.
browsing,
Also jail.
and if I leave the house to go shopping,
Believe it or not, jail. Right away.
leave your home,
Right to jail. Right away.
the basic message is,
They put you in jail. Right away. No trial, no nothing.
and I appreciate it's a concerning time for all of us.
Because of jail.
You
Did you
have no
see?
rights in Australia.
Did you see the Kentucky Fried Chicken smuggler meme,
Yes, yes,
Morgan?
yes.
Have you seen that?
No, I
Oh,
haven't seen it.
There were people just
you gotta
arrested
see
because they were
this.
smuggling Kentucky Fried Chicken into a town, and the cops brought it out and laid it out on the hood of the car like it was a drug bust. It was buckets of chicken and
Yeah.
But why would they smuggle it?
because they're not allowed to leave their houses. They're not allowed to go get things. They're not allowed to commute.
Oh, you mean
They're-
because of
they're-
COVID?
Yeah.
Yes, they're on
Five-
full
five-
draconian lockdown. They're not
Yeah.
allowed to have more than 6 beers in their house. No, everything's on ration and lockdown, like everything.
Yeah, that's extreme, but it's not like that here, though. I am annoyed that I'm expected to wear a mask after getting fully
It's coming.
vaccinated.
It's
And
coming.
I have proof of vaccination in my phone. I have the document.
Let me tell you just how stupid this is. The vaccine works so well, you have to get it, but it doesn't work so well that people with vaccines need to be protected from those that aren't vaccinated and they have to get boosters. But it works so well, make sure you get it. But it doesn't work so well, so make sure that you have to get fucking vaccine or boosters. The vaccine's a bunch of bullshit. It doesn't work at all.
I'll say to them, I'm fully vaccinated. They'll say it doesn't matter. It's like, well, if it doesn't matter, why get the vaccine?
No, yeah, exactly. It doesn't.
Yeah. Why should I have gotten it then?
The vaccine was advertised wrong and marketed wrong. It doesn't protect you from the virus. It just protects you from symptoms, from showing signs of symptoms. Shit.
It shouldn't have been marketed from the first place.
At all.
COVID is not the Black Plague Part 2.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's not. I've been saying that.
The most people who died from it could have died from the flu. They had compromised immune systems. A lot of them were the elderly. Most of the people who have gotten it recovered from it. Like my girlfriend had it for about a month. My friend Rachel, for about a month, she said she couldn't smell or taste anything, and then it went away. If you're healthy, you won't die from COVID, and it's a tiny portion of the population that has died. And
it's like 99.7% survive.
No. Yes. If you go across the board, okay, a little while back I had looked, the numbers have obviously gone up a little bit since then, but probably not much. But it was 36 million people in the United States had contracted COVID, and 666,000 and change had died. Okay, that's a lot.
Is that even really a pandemic?
No.
People died from the flu, like millions of people died from the flu every year.
The threshold for a pandemic is really, really small. Something I learned in restaurant safety concerning food poisoning. Raymond probably familiar with this also. If two people get sick, you have an outbreak.
Yeah.
If 4 people get sick, you have a pandemic.
Yeah, I was thinking about that movie, 12 Monkeys. Remember the scene where he came in from outside and people were like scrubbing him with all those brushes and soap? We're not living in that reality. That's not how it is. It's much less deadly than that.
So the average age of deaths for COVID, involving COVID, 83. Due to COVID, 83.
If you're 83 and you get pneumonia, you could very well die.
So the average age for deaths across the board is 83.
At 83, you die from anything,
The average life expectancy is 78. So the average death age is 5 years older than the average life expectancy. I mean, come on, people. Okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying. 36 million people contracted, a little over 660. We're going to say 667,000 because we're just going to leave that number out. Anyway, if you do the math, mind you, this is across the board.
How many people died?
Little over 666,000. Last I checked.
That's not even that's not even like 1% of the population.
1.7%. 1.7%. That's everybody. That's everybody. That's not counting.
America is roughly 300 million people in the United States.
350 something, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was I saying? That's counting everybody. If you died of a heart attack while having COVID, it's written as a COVID death. If you died in a car accident with COVID, it's listed as a COVID death. So that's everybody included is 666,000. If you get rid of everyone who died with COVID, it is a much, and I'm talking this is from COVID, is a much, much, much smaller percentage than 1.7. This thing kills almost nobody. Now, in my opinion, yes, Jason, you're right. When you get to 4 people, 5 people, it's a pandemic but it's
not.
Hold on, please hold on. If I've been trying to say a lot. If unless it's risking like 10% of the population, it is not a pandemic in my opinion. No. 7% of the population, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not, people aren't at risk. They always want to talk about the infection rate. Oh, it's variant. Okay, yes, it is variant infection. The infection rate doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. I don't care how many people stub their toe. It's does the toe fall off once it's been stubbed? How often does that happen? You know?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I want.
Something you got to look at though is 10% of 350 million is 3.5 million people. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot. That's a fucking pandemic, dude. That's a pandemic.
Yeah,
That's a
but
lot of people being affected. A
600,000.
pandemic to me is not 7 people down the street got sick. That's a pandemic. The whole fucking town should be scared.
The
No,
media,
that's
the
not a
media,
pandemic.
the
If
media
this
sells
entire
fear.
neighborhood gets sick, then yes, the town should be worried. That's a fucking pandemic.
The
You know what
media
I'm
has
saying?
blown it way out of proportion.
Well, they
Yes.
politicized it is what they did.
Yes.
The media has made this into a political tool, and
They used it to get Donald Trump out of office.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, in Africa they've had worse viruses than this, like Ebola, and they didn't institute
Here
this
in
kind of
America, we've
draconian
had worse. You know?
SARS.
No, you're right.
malaria, you know.
Look at SARS.
Polio.
Look at SARS. SARS was a big thing in 2005, I think. Joe Biden was the vice president for Barack Obama, and he was actually appointed the SAR or whatever the hell he called it.
SARS, yeah.
Sarzar.
Yeah.
Sarzar.
And there was no masking.
Can I get a Sarzar salad, please?
At work, people would be coughing, and we'd joke about it. Ah, you got SARS. Stay away from
And you're
me.
called racist if you say it's a Chinese flu or something like that. But it did come from China. Everyone knows that.
Do you know what COVID stands for?
Oh, and then there's another important point too. They're saying, just because you're not symptomatic doesn't mean you might not have it. Well, there's another point to prove that most people have the ability to contract it without feeling symptoms. Most people are healthy enough not to get sick from it. So,
look, I am anti-vaccine. I'm anti-vaccine for me though. Like I haven't even had a flu shot in like 20 years, 25 years, something like that. Since I was underage, I'll tell you that much. Once I was an adult and shit wasn't forced, like I'm telling you, I haven't, no. And I don't remember the last time I've been sick that wasn't a hangover. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't. I have an amazing immune system. But I won't say that they don't do good. And I firmly believe that it is up to the individual. If you're at risk for something, like my grandma never got it. She hasn't got it. I don't think she wants it. But grandma, I would be in full support of getting it if she wanted it. She's fucking 86 years old. She's over the threshold. She's at risk. If you're someone who's heavier set, if you're someone who's got diabetes, lung issues.
I was told if you have diabetes, you could get it and you could die, get sick. I haven't. So.
Well, we got to be careful too, because see, there's something I was going to bring. A lot of people they're not talking about this on the mainstream media. There were a lot of people contracting congestive heart failure due to the vaccines. These are when people say this is a vaccine. No, this is not a vaccine. This is an experimental drug that's being put on the plant for the people. Everyone taking it are the case studies.
It alters your DNA, dude.
Yes, it does.
It's an RNA inhibitor, I believe, if I'm correct.
Well, whatever it does, if I've gotten the goddamn vaccine, I should be able to have my goddamn freedom back.
100%.
But I don't.
They're not going to give it back. They're not going to give it back, Morgan. Once they take
vaccine,
it, never give it back.
It was never about giving your freedom back. It never was. It was just about conforming. It was about puppetry. It's about dog and pony show. It's about never look at the man behind the curtain. The great and powerful Oz,
I've been a rebel all my life. I've been difficult all my life, and this is a really hard situation for me. I've had a lot. Yesterday, a fucking clerk at the grocery store refused to process my food because I wasn't wearing a mask, so I had to go to another one. It was fucking annoying. It's just pissing me off.
After you had all your shit on the belt?
Yeah.
Oh, well, some of it, yeah. And I got the document.
Garbage, dude.
I have the proof of vaccination in my phone. I can show them, and it doesn't matter. You got to wear it.
Well, and you know what? It's not 100% their fault either. That's what the media
the government's
fake-ass doctors are telling them.
Yeah, that's what the government's forcing them to do. With police.
Well, they keep pushing the goalposts back. See, it was get your vaccine and then you can. But see, now not everyone's getting it. So now you have to. Oh, no, now they've just realized, now you still need your mask even if you're vaccinated. Might as well wear two even if you're vaccinated and get your booster because we don't know how effective it all is. It's all bullshit. None of it's effective. None of it works. It's just trying to get everyone to conform and not look at what's really going on. If we're all focused on fighting each other and paying attention to these stupid mandates, we're not noticing what they're doing with the Green New Deals, and we're not noticing where the money's being spent and where our taxes are going. We're not noticing all the illegal shit and dirty shit that's going on because we're too busy fighting each other and we're not focusing on them. And that's what it really is. It's about.
You know what? Speaking of noticing, sorry to break in there, boys, but I really got to bring something up.
Yeah.
You know, there was a drone strike in Afghanistan right after Joe Biden abandoned all those people over there. And the White House touted that we killed the ISIS-K second leader or some bullshit like that. You know what? Okay.
You know what he did kill?
Yeah, 7 children and 3 innocents.
It was a family. It was just a family living there.
He blew up a fucking family, dude.
This has been confirmed.
And you know what else? Nobody's. Nobody. There's no accountability. Nobody's talking about it. You know what they're talking about? They're talking about freaking Border Patrol agents with long reins.
Whipping patients.
Never fucking happened.
With no video footage, and it never happened. They're talking about shit that never happened while ignoring shit that did happen. That is the leftist mainstream media for you. You know who did cover it all? Steven Crowder. I love that.
Yeah, I like Crowder too.
I like Crowder.
I can't afford to subscribe.
One of Canada's finest. Yeah, I can't subscribe yet either. Hopefully, if I ever start making money, I will. But I watch his show on YouTube the first hour because it's free, you know. And then he goes and does Mud Club on Blaze or whatever it's at. And yeah, I can't afford that yet. But yeah, Biden's a bumbling fool. You know, he's a puppet politician, and he don't even know what's going on. I mean, that guy is pushing into Alzheimer's.
You had the Halloween theme on your phone too.
Yeah, certain rigs. Had it all year too. In freaking March, my wife was like, Halloween was 5 months ago, and I was like, nope, it's still Halloween on my phone. I just wanted to point something out, guys. We were talking about COVID deaths a few minutes ago, and I just wanted to drop a fact on you. In the U.S., a child goes missing every 90 seconds, according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
That's a pandemic.
You know, in the European Union, the reported number of missing children every year is about 250,000. Where do you think those children in Europe go?
Here.
Black market.
No, I ain't coming here. Sex trafficking and shit, I would imagine a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Here's another one. According to the New York Post, this was posted actually today on the New York Post, a new nonpartisan report indicates President Joe Biden inappropriately avoided paying Medicare taxes before he took office. Looks like he owes about $500,000 in back taxes, and this is him pushing on this $3.5 trillion bill, which actually turns out to be a $7 trillion bill.
Isn't the Post liberal too?
Yeah,
Democrat.
It is.
You know, that's the thing. That's how you know that Biden is trash, dude, because they're even starting to come. They're
cannibalism and shit. Yeah.
Also,
that's the way that
he evaded taxes. So he evaded taxes, and now he's raising taxes.
Well, yeah, it's like the person who accuses you of cheating all the time. They're probably cheating themselves, you know. It's like everyone with the racist things. The funny thing is they're actually racist, and so they're pointing at you, calling you racist first. because it nullifies them. And then once again, you can't deny it, because if you just deny it, you look worse, and you can't not deny it, because if you don't deny it, then you're just confirming.
Well, it's like if you make a statement like "I'm not ashamed to be white," they would probably misconstrue that as being racist.
Yep. But you can get black pride or brown pride tattooed across your chest in big letters.
Oh yeah, yep.
And you're not a racist when that happens.
You're not a racist, because racism only goes one way, I guess, is what they say. I'll tell you right now, that's a bunch of BS. Anyone who's ever been to prison will tell you right now that the most racist people I've ever met, some of the nicest people too, but the most racist group of people I've ever met are black men. And that's just a fact. And I mean, a lot of them are really tight. I got some that are my brothers and I love and I would bleed and die for. But they're as a group. I mean, it's openly okay too. Like they got shows on right now where like the mom gets upset because the son brought home a white girl, or she brought home a white man. What's this shit? They hate it. Like they openly can be racist towards white people, and it's funny because they come from a place of non-privilege. Privilege doesn't exist unless you have money.
Actually, in many
and what they're insinuating is only white people have money. That's the whole point of it.
In most interracial relationships or marriages, when it comes to the family that objects to it, it's not the white people. It's usually actually the people of color who creates the bigger stink about it.
Well, it's like one of the biggest problems with the kids.
Wait. Rewind. Raise the biggest what about it, Morgan?
The biggest stink about it, like
a boot,
really, like
a boot.
Yeah, I once knew a white woman.
I'm just teasing you, man.
I once knew a white woman who married a black man, and one time they visited our place, and his mother came along, and we all went outside. It was summer to sit on the patio, and his mother sat inside and read a newspaper, because she doesn't like white people. Well, I mean, inclusion is a two-way street. You know what I'm saying?
I watched this little show called Letterkenny.
Oh, I love Letterkenny.
And I just gotta say it because whenever I think about Canadian culture, that's the reference I have. I know you all ain't a bunch of farmers, just like we aren't a bunch of rednecks. You know what I'm saying? That's just the mental vision I get.
It's funny that you brought in Letterkenny because that actually ties in with vaccine mandates for me. I
haven't been watching it.
Well, no. I have a ticket to go see them in March, and I bought my ticket. I bought my ticket to go see them before the pandemic even started, and then the pandemic happened. The show got postponed. They were refunding tickets, but I decided I'm just going to hang on to mine because you know what? The $180 I spent on the ticket is not even important. I would much rather go see them. I love it. Just like Trailer Park Boys. If I had my ticket, I'm not turning that in. I'm keeping it. So I sat through this entire time, and it got to the point where it was a year past the actual date of the show, and my ticket disappeared. It didn't show that I had one online or even purchased one. So I had to call them up. I went through a bunch of rickamaroo, run around, arguing with them just to realize that their computers automatically clear out things that are a year past the date of the showing because, nothing's postponed that long ever. Like, it's just not. So tons of people, they understand you still got a ticket. It still shows in the record. When the show comes around, you'll be able to get it. Okay, fine. Show finally came around. I got my ticket. Everything's fine and dandy. Not 3 weeks after that, San Francisco institutes their vaccine mandates. It's at the Warfield. So I look at the Warfield's guidelines, and yeah, they're now following. So now to go to this show that I've been sitting around for almost 2 years waiting for, that I've had since before this started, I have to allow the government to stick me with some artificial fake bullshit they just invented that I don't even get. Like I said, I don't even get the flu shot. Haven't in decades. I'm not going to. Now I have to just to go watch a comedy show. I'm sorry, no. So I've already emailed Letterkenny, unfortunately, and give them an extensive letter explaining how much I love them and love their show and would love to go see them. But I will be demanding a refund or literally just not showing. So if I can't get my refund, I'm going to sell this ticket to somebody that will, or I just won't be going. you know.
Yeah.
And it sucks because the hotel that is half a block down is going to be losing that's right, I got to call them and cancel my reservations pretty soon. They're going to be losing out on money too because I had a room for 2 nights. I'm canceling that. I even paid the extra money to be able to cancel anytime I want because I always do that because you never know, you know. But yeah, it's garbage. It's bullshit. So, and once again, it goes back to the if there was not a San Francisco police force doing whatever the mayor said and the governor said, which takes us back. We mentioned this last week. Takes me back to fucking Gavin Newsom. It's like not at one point at any time when they're decriminalizing petty theft in San Francisco and adding vaccine mandates that he just went, it's probably not a good idea. Maybe I should step in, you know?
I just like to interject real quick. The mayor of San Francisco is London Bree, which was recently caught at a party without a mask, and she said she was feeling the vibe.
Yeah, because Tony had come out of retirement for the first time in like 20 years. Did you see her little interview she gave? Her explanation, it was like we were dumb for wondering why like Tony came back out. Like it was the Beatles or something, you know? Like Led Zeppelin's surviving members and got up on stage and jammed for the first time in decades, you know? No, it's Tony, a second-rate at best R&B group of the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony's mom's probably about the only barely cares, you know, or the only one that does. Like, get the fuck out of here. But see, I mean, I guess this is what happens when you let women be in charge. Oh
no, liberals.
No.
It's when liberals are in charge.
Yes, now that's where you're accurate. I'm just teasing ladies. We know I love the ladies.
It's the exact same precedent that freaking Gavin Newsom set when he was photographed at the French Laundry with top medical experts, all unmasked, not social distanced, and this was over a year ago, you know. But it's the exact same behavior. It's do as I say, not as I do. I'm better than you. I know better than you. I want to know what makes somebody think they're smarter
Rules for
than
thee
me.
and not for me.
Yeah, you know. I mean, like.
Well, it's narcissism, buddy. They get a big head. Like you get voted for office.
That's a little different. Narcissism.
Well, no, they're all definitely narcissistic, bro. 100%. You don't think Gavin Newsom's narcissistic? He's
No. I agree 100%.
Okay.
But narcissism, like the whole entree, is a much different thing. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, but what I was saying was, I say that you get the "I know better than you" syndrome from narcissism because I know better than you. You know, and that's what I think is you're saying. Where do they get off knowing better for me than me? Well, that's because they actually believe they do. You know?
Oh yeah, they think that.
Yeah,
they think they're better than you and I. They think they're
you know,
smarter.
The last time Dr.
They
Fauci
think they know what's better for you and I than we do, and that is my problem.
Which is definitely not wrong, or definitely wrong. And let me put it in a perfect example. I'll break it down in steps to show you. Okay, so we're going to say that everybody in the country knows what's best for you. I mean, maybe, but not really, okay? And then we're going to drop it down. Everybody in your state has a better idea than people in other states or countries what's good for you. But still not totally. Now, come down small. People in your county or your town, they've got even a better understanding of what's best for you, you know, because they are a little more directly related to what's going on in your world.
But they know what's best for you.
Yeah. Smaller. Your household, the people in your family know better than the people in your town what's best for you, you know. But still not totally. You get smaller. You know what's best for you even better than your family. It's this. Yeah, I am.
Making butter.
Fucking, you know, I was just getting smaller so you get around it, you know. Grab it each size all the way down. But anyway, you get my point. Like, yeah, even though these people may know what's good for you, but as you get to a smaller group, more directly related, closer, right up on top of you, it becomes more directly involved. And so they have a better understanding of what you really are, all the way down to you. Because each one of us, there are things that we don't tell other people. Like, not everyone knows everything, not even your wife. Trust me. Even if you tell your wife everything, you don't tell her every time you jerk it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
You especially don't tell her that.
so there's not everything. No one knows everything but you. So anyone to sit there and say, oh, they know what's best. No, they don't. No one they does. I don't know what's best for anyone else. That's why I say I'm anti-vax for myself, but I'm pro-vax for anyone else that wants it for whatever reason that they deemed it fit, you know? I mean, that's it. It's just you got to weigh your own pros and cons. You talk to your physicians, your doctors. You decide what's best for you. And then you need to, I mean, I would say don't be blind to the reality of things, like the fact that this is experimental and we don't know the long-term side effects of things. Why? Because we don't have a 5 or 10 year case study yet. You know, and that's why. And once we get there, then we'll understand, you know.
Well, look at the what is it, Chantrex, I think it was called. Just got recalled. It was that anti-smoking aid at Chantrix.
Yeah. There's that one. There's another one just got recalled too. What is it? NAC, NAC.
It was the one that Rob Lowe did a commercial for.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
It was Chantrix, I think. I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right.
It was the stop smoking aid where like you had like a little pod that you puffed on, and to give you that gratification.
Chantrix
causes cancer. FDA approved.
Yep.
How long
right.
ago did that come out? 5 years ago, I believe. 8 years ago.
Okay, so there is this just happened the other day,
Yeah.
and I think this is this right here, NAC, NAC. I'm trying to see if I can figure out what the heck it actually stands for. I'm believing this is it, but it's
an
treated.
acronym.
Yeah. Well, it's a supplement. It's an over-the-counter supplement. It's one of the few supplements in the world that actually works. Okay, and it's treated for all kinds of things. Yeah, here it is. NAC acetylcysteine. Wow, I don't know. I'll definitely put a picture of it in the video. This stuff has been around for a while. It treats liver. They use it for alcoholics. A lot of that stuff. It actually saves lives. It's really good. Well, they just recently discovered that it's having some benefits towards COVID also, because it's helping lungs and shit. Liver and lung function is what it does. So anyway, just the other day they banned it. They're banning it all over across the board. It's getting really hard. Only certain places you can get it, and they're making it. Why? Is because it's actually beneficial. It's a form of treatment. See, they don't want us having treatment for the vaccine because they want us getting their vaccine. You know, treatment for the COVID. They want us getting the vaccine. They don't want us taking alternate.
They want customers. They don't want cures.
Yeah, exactly. And so now this stuff is just got recalled and is now getting illegal. Why? Because they're going back to clinical trials. Mark my words, in 6 months, the stuff's going to be remarketed as, or in a year, it's going to be remarketed as some sort. So they're making the money off it now because the shit's $14 for the bottle of 100. You know what I'm saying? They're going to want this shit to be $500 for this bottle. You know?
Yep.
And that's what it is. It's just it's more of the BS. It's more of the smoke screens and lies. I don't know. I was just thinking about that. I don't remember why I started thinking about that, but it was trash. But anyway, yeah. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and get into our final segment, which we kind of did. There's been a small undertone message today. I don't know if anyone's got it, but it has the main guy at the root of the cause of it all, including the IRS, was Biden. So we kind of did a long teabagging here, so we're going to get a little final. Morgan, got anything else you want to say about Biden and the IRS? Grind my gears, let him have a little Morgan Rector Canadian teabag.
Just keep your hands off my money, bitch.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it is a bullshit. The IRS has been raping people for a long time. They will continue to do it. And Biden, I mean,
I'm actually surprised that it's taken this many years to cross international lines, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like up until now, if I had been an American, I would never have voted for the Republicans, but I might, if I were, the next time around, I would probably consider it.
You know, my youngest brother kind of argued with me a little bit when I was trying to explain to him that Biden is horrible, but he said the same things about Trump. And I try to explain to him, like, no, almost everything you hear about Trump on the social media is a lie, just like almost everything not social media, mainstream media is a lie, just like almost everything they say is a lie. Almost everything that you hear on CNN, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, it is 90% fabricated, okay? Yes, I understand there's a little bit of truth in everything. But anyway, just the other day, he said it in the perfect terms. He looked at me and he goes, you know what? Maybe Trump wasn't so bad. And I go, yeah, why? He goes, well, I'll tell you this much. I didn't have to spend $900 to fill my tank and about 10 grand to buy some lumber under Donald Trump.
Yeah, the lumber price is a whole nother fucking discussion.
Ridiculous, bro. And gas is horrible. I mean, Biden
everything's more expensive and our dollars buy less. And that's what Biden's given us. Yeah. You know, I say screw both. Fuck the Democrats, fuck the Republicans, vote third party. The only way we're going to change things is if we start voting libertarian here in the United States. We got to get back on the gold standard. We got to eliminate the welfare state. We got to eliminate the border crisis. There's a lot of things that we can do that will make this country a lot better and get us back on the ingenuity that is our history. You know, we made airplanes, we made the internet, we were the first to go to the moon.
You know, that's not just.
I want to chime in on something you said there, Jason, real quick, because I do agree with what you mean in logic, but voting third party will never work. And
that's
the reason being,
that's why it doesn't.
No. It will never work because you would have to have the entire one side switch over to this new party because the Democrats will never change.
Yeah, I know.
And so you're never gonna beat their 49%. So what you would do if you start voting third party is you're gonna have 10% stay Republican and 38% are going to go third party, and the Democrats will win. There will never be nothing but a Democrat president if we start voting third party. And so, I mean, I get your logic, and I agree. What has to happen is the Republican Party has to be taken over. That's just what has to happen. And Donald Trump was the first thing to do it. He's not Republican.
I agree.
People tend to realize that. He's not a Republican. He was a Democrat for like 50 years.
He was an independent also.
Yeah, he's been a part of all political parties at one point or another.
Yeah,
and and that's just the fact. I agree, Jason. You're right. The Republicans are BS, and like 80% of them are garbage. We just got to get them out. We got to get more Trump. We got to get another Ron DeSantis. What is it? Governor Abbott from Texas. You know, he's fucking good.
DeSantis is the Florida guy. I'm going to predict this right now. If Trump doesn't run in 2024, DeSantis is.
Now,
and I wouldn't be surprised to see a Trump-DeSantis ticket.
Oh, I would love to see that, and that might be it. But now check out, there was another poll just the other day, and they asked that. Now, Donald Trump is by far ahead. 6 out of 10 Republicans would give Donald Trump the nod. You know who was second? Mike Pence. Mike Pence was second.
That guy's a douche.
I know. I couldn't believe it. It blew my mind. This was on Crowder. So Crowder covered it. And then third was DeSantis. So, I mean,
I think DeSantis beat the fuck out of fucking. I'd love to see that.
I would too, because DeSantis has got the flair that he would win over the crowd, kind of like Trump.
Yeah.
Pence is very stoic, and
Yep.
So listen here, I actually liked Mike Pence until he, showed he had no backbone.
All right.
But
yeah, Jason, what's that flag in back here? What does that symbolize?
Oh, this flag? This is the actual flag of the Republic of Kyrgyzstan.
Oh, okay. Because you know what I was wondering at first? I was like, is that a white power flag back there? Because it does kind of look like some of their flags. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was curious about.
Well, actually, if you research the history of Kekistan, you'll come to understand that it's it's a fictional place that occurred in gaming chat rooms, and actually Kek, K-E-K, was the what came up in South Korean chat servers that are encoded for LOL. It came out KEK. And it goes deeper than that. It's something that 4channel invented. It's like I said, it's a not a real place, fictional place. There's our prophet, Pepe. Perhaps you've heard of Pepe.
Oh, yeah, I know about Pepe. Yeah.
Okay, Pepe is from Kekistan. That's where this all revolves back to. It's people. So it started out on that South Korean server, and then there was a census in Britain, United Kingdom, whatever you like to call it, and people are allowed to mark their ethnicity, and if more than 10,000 people mark a certain ethnicity, it becomes a legitimate one. So, like 24, I can't remember what the number was, over 10,000 people marked themselves as Kekistan E. So it became an actual ethnicity in the Kingdom of England. Now, like I said, it's fictional, but it keeps going and going and going. It has mostly to do with memes and being a meme master. Like you pointed out originally, it does look a lot like something that somebody would call a white supremacist. It is fashioned after a Nazi flag, but if you look closely, it's got the 4 leaves from 4chan at the top, and it's got not a swastika, but the Holy Grail, Kek, infinity in the middle.
Whenever I go to 4chan, I always see is porn. I never see these. So many like memes and things have originated there. I just see porn. That's all I ever see when I go there.
Yeah, you look up weaponized autism and stuff, and you might find something a little bit better. But this is where all this came from, and I don't go on 4chan either. I just know where it came from.
Yeah.
It's meant to trigger people that said what you said. It's all about a trigger, because people are too lazy most of the time to actually look and see what's there. They just see something, glance upon something, and they're like, "Oh shit, that's a Nazi flag. You're racist." But they have no idea what this is.
They're quick to jump to racism also.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember something came up on my Facebook feed.
Quick to jump to any conclusion.
Yeah. There's this place, I think it's just an island, but I think it's near Scotland or something. But you pay a fee and you can become a lord or something on this little place.
No.
You get a yard, like literally like a 3x3 square of land.
Yeah, Scotland. In Scotland, all you need to own is a square foot of land, and you're considered the title of lord or lady. Okay, Lord. And so there's a company out there right now. I actually have been thinking about doing it, and you pay them, and what they do is they plan, and it's also to help get the Scottish forest built back and stuff. They plant a tree in your square.
That's wicked, yeah.
Yeah. But then you own that square, you get the title, you get a certificate, you are officially a lord or a lady.
That's cool.
Matter of fact,
it's like the equivalent of buying a star. You can get people named after a star, and they're like, "Oh no, it's not MX453 anymore. Now it's Haley Bradshire or what the fuck ever." You know what I mean?
The slight difference with that and where the star thing actually is kind of a scam versus that you can't plant multiple trees in the same spot.
Yeah.
Well, you can't put multiple stars in the same spot either. I mean,
No,
what do
but
you mean?
but you can't put multiple names.
No.
And yes, they do. Each directory has every star. So depending, each directory sells the star one time, but
there's like 5 different
yeah,
directories.
and yes, there are billions. So the odds of you picking the same one are slim.
You know who should get one? You know who should get one? Bubbles. He likes to play space, right?
Let's look for a gas giant and name it Bubbles.
Yeah.
Bubbles, Kitty Star.
I know enough about Trailer Park
Gary
Boys
Laser
to
Eyes.
comment on that one.
Yeah, we could name it Gary Laser Eyes. You know?
Yeah, you'd have to watch the show to get these references. Yeah, Trailer Park Boys references.
But you know what I'm saying, Jason? Like, so I mean,
I encourage any of you, especially you, Morgan, because you're not an American, to research on YouTube. Look up Kekistan, and it's funny. It's all about lols. It's all about laugh out louds. It's centrists, and I think you'll appreciate that.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I mean, my country's kind of a centrist nation, really. But some people go too far to the left.
It'll give you a better idea of what centrist is.
Yeah. Well, some people use the terms center right and center left, but there's no such thing. If you identify that, what you really are is a moderate conservative or moderate liberal. If you understand geometry, there's only one center, and I'm in the center. I'm moderate.
You know, the way I look at it is there's always 2 wings to a bird. The bird cannot fly without 2 wings.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I'm the one that rides on the back, and my name is Liberty.
Well, you need 2 kinds of people. You know, it's like conservatives are good at maintaining order and working.
And liberals are good at breaking it.
Civil servant. Artists keep people sane. That's part of their job, you know.
Yeah.
Keep people, because if your life is whole just about paying the bills, you'll fucking crack up eventually. So somebody's got to entertain you, you know.
Yeah.
Very true. Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Alrighty.
Well, so yeah, that's the basic history on that flag. No, it's not a Nazi flag. Yes, I hang it up in the window to fuck with my neighbors and anybody else that comes to my door.
I love it. It's a cool flag. I like it. How does one become a citizen of Kekistan?
It's an ethnicity thing, bro. It's beliefs. Yeah, I think that you might have a little Kekistani in you, Raymond, and I'm not sure about Morgan. I think he might also, but I think he's more of a normie. But I'm not sure. Y'all, after this podcast, I'm telling you, go on fucking YouTube and just watch some videos. I don't know if you get different hits in Canada than what you do here. But if you type in Kekistan or Kekistan history or what else? Oh, the guy that started it, the guy that really made it take off was what was his name? Some of Sargon. Arcath of Sargon, I think his name was, his gamer name. Oh, it's really fucking amazing, and it's old. I mean, it died out it didn't die out, but it flourished probably about 6 years ago, you know, but I still run with that mantle. It's really about freedom and centricity and anarchism. Actually, if you watch some of the videos, and Kapistan is Kekistan is the greatest ally. So
I'm definitely gonna have to look into that.
I was never
Sure.
afraid of that virus. I was never afraid of COVID. Not
No.
once, not ever.
No, I'm not scared of
I
anything
got
named after a light beer.
I got I got COVID before it fucking was popular, dude.
Yeah, he got COVID before it was cool, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I got funny because I got
no, I'm
pneumonia
serious.
before it
The December before it started. So in 2020 is when it started, right? So in December of 2019, I got sick. I got so sick, like I would wake up coughing, and I thought I was gonna die. Like I couldn't. I was just choking on my own phlegm.
Well,
Basically.
my doctor gave me the pneumonia vaccine. Maybe that protected me. I don't know.
If you remember when I went down to his house to do the jerky challenge thing,
Yeah.
We had postponed the trip a couple months before that because his wife tested positive.
Oh yeah. Did she get really
just
sick?
like a month or two.
No. She felt sick for like a day and a half. She wanted, no
She's got
energy.
an immune system.
Yeah.
She's not 85 years old. Or I'll presume she's not 85 years old.
No.
Well, hey, different strokes for
Rocking
different
the
folks.
Yeah.
I like the gravy train, Morgan. Shut up.
Right?
Yeah, but the average person can fight it off. We have our immune systems are set up to fight off things like that. And
Well, it depends, because like what people tend to forget, like one of the worst things ever invented for regular human use was antibacterial stuff.
No.
Well, it's like
it was, Jason, because it helped prevent us from being exposed to bacteria. We're supposed to be exposed to bacteria.
Like in Mexico, if we drank the tap water, we'd get diarrhea. But they can drink it because their immune system's built up strength against it.
Right. Now, where I disagree at, Raymond, is that
I didn't get to finish what I was saying, so
like back pain. Like if you have a serious wound and they got to dump some antibacterial shit in there to clean that shit out, you're gonna want
Jason. That's medical. Jason, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about everyday human use. Antibacterial soap, wiping your counters with antibacterial shit all day. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, they're saying
that we had let me finish
that alcohol hand rub.
No.
They're saying the antibiotics we have now are eventually going to lose their ability to perform their function, and it's probably because we're using them too much. Yes. Our bodies get used to them, and then they have to develop stronger ones. So
yes, we need to be exposed to germs and bacteria to grow natural antibodies and immunities and things. That's just a fact. If you're not exposing yourself to germs, if you grow up in a sterile environment, you will be one of those people that is super susceptible to germs. So you will need all the vaccines. That's one of the things. I don't need all the vaccines and all that stuff because I grew up playing in dirt without antibacterial, and I got natural immunities to things. I got antibodies. I have an immune system,
I've never been a germaphobe.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. If that's what I was saying by the worst thing to be invented to give into normal. Now, inside hospitals and some instances in kitchens.
No.
Antibacterial. What do you mean no?
Yeah, you do have to.
No, you want antibacterial.
Are you talking about masks or soaps?
No, are you paying attention to my conversation? No.
Go in the kitchen where you're
yes, human use, soaps, things like that, that is all bad. What I'm stating is in a few instances is the only time antibacterial should be ever used. Yeah. And that's in hospitals and in some cases in restaurants. Like if I just got done cutting up raw meat, that countertop should be wiped off and sanitized.
Especially chicken.
Other than that, no, it should not.
How do you like my background?
Yeah.
I love it.
How do you feel about the whole Confederate flag controversy?
The liberals go suck a dick. You know that that flag has nothing to do with racism.
Nothing to do with it. But yeah, let's let's go ahead and we're gonna wrap this up here, I guess.
Okay.
That's about all we got for today. You want to say anything, Jason?
Morgan, thank you so much for joining us today, sir. I appreciate your time.
Yes, Morgan,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Your input and your insight into a different country was spectacular.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And here, I love. I know we get a little excited. I get a little fired, but like it's all out of love, and I love having other opinions, and
I respect your opinion.
Totally,
100%.
dude.
I hope you don't. If I seem like a dick, I didn't mean to be. I get passionate about stuff, and I respect your patriotism for your country.
Sure. For sure. You know,
I got a bunch of what?
You know something? You remember Rob Ford? You must have heard about Rob Ford, right? The former mayor of Toronto, the crackhead. Well, his brother is the premier. The equivalent of a governor in Canada is a premier. His brother is the premier, and he's a conservative, but he's forcing these fucking masks on us because ultimately all politicians care about is getting re-elected. So that's what it all boils down to, right? So,
how did you guys re-elect that dude Trudeau? Isn't that his name?
Yeah, Justin Trudeau. Yeah, he was just
that dude's done blackface more than anyone in the history of the world, and he can't even say LGBTQIA plus.
I will never apologize for standing up for an LGBTQ2 plus kids' rights to not have to undergo conversion therapy.
He said, what did he say, BGT, BDD? Like, did you see him during his speech?
Well, I'll give him a pass on that one. I mean, fuck that. But,
who cares, right?
Nobody cares! Nobody cares!
All right, well, I guess that's about all we got for today, you guys. So fucking go fact yourself, everybody.
Fact you.
Right. Later.
Night.
Go ahead and say all of that wild shit online, man. You might need a Dr. Phil if you catch me outside. And I will not apologize if you ain't one of mine, fam. I cannot afford to give a fuck if it was finance.